We started our foster adopt journey in 2006. We, at that time, found out that we couldn't have children, and we went through the process and adopted our oldest son privately. I feel like once the Lord places foster care on your heart, He doesn't ever take it away, right? And He just keeps peppering you with it. We got a phone call about a baby. And that, as I asked more about the story of what's the deal? Well, there were three more children that were part of the story.
They had not had a stable environment for a long time.
If ever. I don't think they ever did.
If ever. I don't think that they've ever had a place to stable enough to even have a pillow that was considered their own.
They had never had a home. They had never had a bed. They had never had a bedtime.
They came to us at 4, 6, and 7, and years of age, and nobody could. I don't think they knew how to use a toothbrush. They didn't. Nobody could count to 10. They couldn't sing their ABCs, and they couldn't tell you the first letter in their name.
I ended up, through mutual friends, finding out about Divinity. And so I contacted them through this whole process, and they walked us through the process, and they helped us go through all of the paperwork, all of the hoops that you have to jump through in order to get certified to do this. And long story short, they got us licensed in record time, and our kids were placed with us like a month later. So, I mean, it was a whirlwind of phone calls, and then, getting that original phone call, and then, calling Divinity and explaining the situation to them, and them, really moving mountains so we could make this happen in the time that we needed it to happen in.
Divinity Family Services, we're a child placing agency, and the main services that we provide are finding, recruiting, training foster homes, and licensing those families to receive children in to their home to care for them while they're displaced from their biological family until they can either return home or achieve permanency through adoption or something along those lines.
We serve a 150-mile radius of Kerrville. That's what we're licensed to do, and I think we have roughly 350 kids in our care, in our homes, almost 300 families, and of those, I would say about 80% are kinship families that we serve.
It's a very, very difficult process to go through. There's so many different parts to it that people may not even be aware of, and so that's where we come in. We try to help them through that process, make it efficient.
I think that the state does the best that they can, and I think that they set the laws and the rules, but what the state doesn't have is they don't necessarily have a platform to serve. And so where we're able to come in is we're able to provide that service to help the family get to where they need to be to be able to take care of the kids and get to the end of their case.
I would call the need for families to care for children, it's huge. I would call it an epidemic. There are more children coming into care in our state, in our community, and in the Hill Country every year than the previous year. And it's a growing problem. And it's a problem that if we don't continue to find wonderful, loving people to help provide homes for these children, we're going to be in a shortage. And the state, the Hill Country included, is in a shortage. There's not enough foster homes for these children.
And foster care is very much about standing in the gap, right? That you're going to stand in the gap for these children, and you're going to speak up, and you are going to advocate for them, the same way Christ advocates for you, right? And part of that process is being with an agency that understands that. They understood that we are advocating for these children, and they advocated for us and helped us through that process.
And it's hard to see from an outside point of view that when you are fostering, you are standing in that gap for that child. You are advocating for them. And it's so, when you're doing that, like, you want to have somebody that's going to actually understand, sympathize, and empathize with your situation and stand in the gap for you.